Going to go ahead and share screen our presentation right now and get the show started. All right. So as you can see here, there's some pictures of our construction. Our multi-purpose building, which is on the left side, is mostly done. They have some minor work to finish, but we have already been using this building for different events and will continue throughout the year, next year, of course. On the right side is our new classroom building. A lot of the sixth grade classrooms will be housed there. And that's expected to be done by the end of June. So definitely by next school year, it will be all good to go for our new students, our incoming sixth graders. All right, we want you to be planning ahead and marking on your calendar some important dates for the upcoming school year. In the beginning of August, you will be receiving a newsletter from Hopkins, and you'll receive this in email as well. But basically, this is information about some important dates and fun activities for our students to participate in. One is our web. It's our program Where Everyone Belongs. It's a program where the 8th grade Hopkins students are leading different connecting activities that are fun for the incoming students to get to know each other and also to get to know some 8th graders too. So they come in first day of school having already known a lot of different people across grade levels. And that's also a day for campus tour so that they get to see the campus one more time before school starts. We also have our Maze Day, that's August 10th, and this is a time where students come to pick up their schedule for the semester, take their ID pictures, and they can sign up for ASB card that allows them to come to our socials for free and get to buy Hopkins clothing if they would like. And then, of course, make sure that you mark on your calendar that our first day of school is August 16th. All right, we want to first begin with explaining some of the important whys of our middle school transition. So before, when we had the junior high and the elementary school where students came from having one teachers to now suddenly having 6 different teachers at the junior high level, we felt that that was a really, really big shift for the students to adjust to. So now that we're going into the middle school, especially 6th grade model, where they are slowly having more teachers, we hope that this will be a better transition for our students to not feel like all of a sudden they lose that classroom connection with the one teacher. And our 6th graders typically will have about 4 teachers across their day, as opposed to 6 teacher all of a sudden. So the 6th grade level will be a good transition that's a little bit softer for our students. And also now that we will be having 3 years in middle school, that we're seeing in the middle school levels in other districts and our own districts too, that the parents also feel that they're more involved and more connected to the school because there's more years that are able to get to know the staff and get to know the school community rather than 2 years in and then you're leading our school already before we know it. And finally, it also aligns with our state standards and how teaching and learning is set up to be. Our Common Core standards has the middle grade level 6 through 8, and then elementary school K through 5. So this way we're aligning with our state's standards and expectations as well. All right, our administration team, you see Mrs. Moore and myself here. We're very fortunate that we will have another assistant principal coming in. And when the time is right, we'll make that official announcement, and that should be coming up very soon. And we also have a fabulous counseling team. We have 2 counselors that's going to be serving our 7th and 8th grade levels. And we have a 6th grade counselor that's already on board starting next year. And again, when it's the right time to announce, we'll make that announcement. But we have the counselor hired already. And this is a really important team for you and the students to reach out to, because as the students are becoming preteens and teenagers, they're going to come across more complex situations socially sometimes. And our counselors, administrators too, we're here to help. We really strongly believe in communication and being restorative. So when the families are proactively communicating with us any concerns, we can take that as confidential information and then proactively reach out to help the students resolve any conflicts before they become too big. And of course, our counselors are there to help with academic support. And if the students are feeling behind or any enrichment opportunities, our counselors are there to help provide too. Right, and we have a really, really strong office staff supporting all different corners of the campus life. And we're going to have new members joining us because we're getting bigger. But right now we have our secretary, Miss Espacio. She's the one to go to for ASB cards, and if families are interested in gifts and donations, she's the one helping to make those happen and making sure the school calendar is up to date. Our registrar, she's the one that's collecting all of your registration and the proofs of residency that you're going to be turning in to sixth grade or to your current fifth grade teacher tomorrow. Tomorrow's the due date. So make sure you turn those in, and Mrs. Loeb is going to go visit the different elementary schools and collect those from the teachers. And she's also the one to go to if you ever need a transcript from the school and report cards. Attendance and COVID concerns will go to our attendance clerk, Ms. Young. We have our campus supervisor who is very thoughtful and also helps tremendously with traffic control. And our traffic goes really smoothly because of his help. And he also helps keep an eye out for any people who maybe accidentally are walking around campus that during school hours, and he kindly lets them know that they need to exit campus during school hours. Our Miss Ruella helps out with school website and any immediate health concerns that are minor that can be taken care of by the health office. And then finally, we also have a part-time nurse, Miss Marcia, and she collects all the medications and makes sure all the medical information is up to date. All right, I want to make sure everyone knows that as soon as you are part of Hopkins, which is in a few months now, very soon, you are automatically a member of our Parent Faculty Association. I strongly believe the quote on the right-hand side, which is that it takes a village to raise a child. And if that is true, then it of course takes a village to support a parent as well. So I hope that you are thinking about Hopkins as your village and the PFA as even a bigger village that's connected to Hopkins, that's there to support you too. And what do? They help raise money to support our students and our teachers, support the different programs. This year, we're very fortunate that they were able to make a donation to help us purchase Chromebooks, which often quickly need updating and replacement. So that comes from a generous PFA donation. They also help us organize volunteers for different programs. Our traffic volunteers, if you are ever able to come by Hopkins, especially during pickup or drop-off hours, you'll see a lot of parent volunteers, and that they're participating because of the help of our PFA. And they also help organize our promotion ceremony for the 8th graders. They meet every first Wednesday of the month. This year, they have been meeting virtually, and we're not sure what the plan is next year. But again, as members of our PFA, you're all invited to attend. It's a really great way to stay updated on everything Hopkins related. And the ways to help is you can make donations in the beginning of the year, and you can also donate your time too in a lot of different PFA sponsored events, including the socials, which are fun afternoon activities where the students enjoy music, play games, and just have fun. We have a lot of parent volunteers who help us provide food and also help us supervise those events. You will see a volunteer form in the May Day packet. And we have a lot of different open positions too. Traffic control definitely will be much needed, as well as the noontime supervision. We're welcoming families to also help if you're able to come during lunchtime hours. It's always helpful just to have more eyes to help the students to supervise the different areas, because we'll have a lot of different areas on campus for students to enjoy their food. And you can also become our PFA board. Right now, our president, Ms. Pritika Gupta, her email is right there. Feel free to contact her if you're interested in taking more of the leadership role. And the open positions on the board will be available soon. As soon as we receive that from our PFA, we will push that out to elementary school so that you have a chance to see what positions are available for you to run and be a part of PFA board. The website is right there for you to access and find out more information. All right, and then our Mandarin immersion program, we also have our Chinese immersion parent group as well, the CIPCF family group. They help support the Mandarin immersion program families and help fundraise and make purchases to support the Mandarin program. And they also help tremendously with our cultural celebrations. This year, we were able to have lion and dragon dancing Kung Fu demonstrations because of CIPCF's help and the parent volunteers. So we're looking forward to continue partnership. They have monthly meetings, and the location will be determined for next year. Right now, it's virtual as well, and their website is right there for you to access. All right, I'm going to pass the mic on to Mrs. Moore to talk about our schedule and the classes next year.
All right, thank you. So what you're looking at right now is what a traditional 6th grade schedule would look like for our students. This is the schedule students who are not in the immersion program would be taking. So they all have math and science, they have English and history, physical education, and then the elective wheel. For your students, however, we'll go to the next screen. This is what your students are going to be enrolled in. Sorry, Ms. Quay, your chat keeps popping up on my screen, but I have to keep clicking it off. Okay, so your student is also required to have 6 classes, and their 6 classes will be, the dual immersion classes will be their language arts and history. So those 2 classes will be taught by their immersion teacher, either in Mandarin or Spanish, depending on what program they are in. Then they will have another 6th grade teacher who will be teaching them their math and science. They'll have a 6th grade teacher teaching them their English class, and then their physical education teacher. So this is what a schedule looks like with the 6 periods of the day. So on the next slide, you'll see what the so this is the same schedule, and this is showing you what it looks like without a 0 period. We're going to talk about 0 period in a moment. So this is what the bell schedule would look like for students with the regular bell schedule. Class will begin at 8:15 every day, and most days of the week we end at 2:27. Wednesdays we do have an early release day where we get out at 1:24. For immersion students, they do have the option of a 0 period. So if we go to the next slide, this is what potentially your students will have if they sign up for a 0 period. So again, instead of 6, they'll have 7 classes. They'll have their dual immersion teacher teaching the language arts and history. They'll have their 6th grade teacher with the math and science, their English teacher, their PE teacher, and then their extra class will be the elective wheel, which I'll show you in a moment. Or if a student is in, if a student has an IEP and requires core support, instead of the wheel, they would have core support. Or if your student requires more English language development, their elective might be an extra ELD course. So I'm going to, if we go back to that other slide real fast, I'll just say that one more time. So a student with a 0 period, they're getting a second elective, and that second elective is going to be either the wheel, core support, or ELD support. So now on the next slide, we can see what the bell schedule looks like. So students who sign up for zero period, their school day begins every day at 7:25 a.m. And then they will get out of school at 2:27 like everybody. And again, on Wednesdays, we have the 1:24 early release. So again, by doing this schedule, by opting for the zero period, it's allowing your child to have that second elective class, whether it be the elective wheel, ELD support, or core support. So on the next screen, on your registration form, there is a sticker at the very top, and we'll focus in on that in just a moment. But this sticker, you're going to be indicating for me whether or not you want the zero period. And again, zero period begins every day at 7:25, Monday through Friday. We do have in our policy that students need to be on time. Otherwise, they may lose that zero period. So it's in the handbook about if they have 10 tardies or unexcused absences, they are at risk of losing that zero period class. So on the next screen, we'll focus in on that sticker so you have a better look of it. You're going to either indicate if your child attends Bringhurst or Blake Howe, depending on which program your student attends. And then you're going to indicate yes or no if you want your child to have the zero period. And if you indicate yes, we will make sure your child has it. If you indicate no and then change your mind later, it'll be depending on if space is available. So have the conversation, with your child and as a family to determine if the zero period is right for you. So on the next screen, we're going to look at what that elective wheel is. So the elective wheel is broken up into 4 different classes. There's 1 class taught per quarter. The first quarter, all students will focus on academic strategies, and we'll look at these different classes more closely in a moment. And then the other 3 quarters are going to be digital citizenship, lifestyle essentials, and innovation. So on the next screen, academic strategies. This is a great course to teach your students to be better students. It's going to focus on study skills, organization, time management, goal setting. Again, this will be taught the first quarter for all students. And then throughout the rest of the year, they'll get digital citizenship. This is using the Common Sense Media curriculum, where students will learn about privacy and security online, balancing their media use, cyberbullying, and then how to leave a positive digital footprint for other people to see. The lifestyle essentials will focus on nutrition, fitness, social emotional health, stress management. And then the final one is called innovation. And this will be a hands-on project-based class. It'll vary teacher to teacher. We haven't had it yet, so I don't have any concrete examples to give you yet, but I am excited to see what the 6th grade classes, what they create in this innovation class. So again, going back to that zero period, I'm just putting on the screen again one more time, what it would look like adding that zero period in to allow your child to have that wheel elective or the core support or ELD support. I should tell you that if your child does have an IEP and does require core support, then the only way for your child to have both programs, the special ed and the dual immersion, is by having that zero period. There's just no other way around it. So again, that's a conversation to have to determine if this is the right thing to do or not to continue with the program. Hopefully, hopefully you've had this discussion, but just knowing that students with an IEP will have to attend school from the 7:25 to 2:27 in order to have both dual immersion and their IEP goals met. And
There's
then,
some questions about the wheel class, so we'll just answer live right now. One is whether they get to choose different electives. So if they pick to have zero period, the one class that will be added to their schedule, and this is the only one class that will be added to their schedule, unless, of course, they're in ELD or needing our special education program support, the core class. So if they're not in those two programs, the only one class that will be added to their 7 classes, if they do have a 0 period, would be the wheel elective class. There's no other electives for 6th graders to choose from.
Yes, that's correct. So the students will have elective choices beginning in 7th grade. So for 6th grade, the elective is the wheel or the core support and ELD support for the immersion program.
And the 0 period class may be a PE class, or it could be a wheel class. That will still have to determine that. The 0 period is not necessarily a wheel class, or
Yeah.
we still have to decide that. So it
Yeah,
will be chosen for the students, though.
Thank you. Yeah, we haven't created the schedule for next year, so their 0 period. It could be anything. It could be math, English, science, PE, to be determined. I was able to meet with all the incoming 6th graders. I visited Lila Bringhurst. That they were the first school that I visited, and then Blake Howe was the last school, and they came to Hopkins. And so they got to go on the tour with our leadership students. But one of the things that I really liked about them is how excited they were, many of them, about knowing that they get to have PE every day. I think a lot of them are going to miss that the recess time, and so they were excited knowing that they go to PE. Most of them, not all, were excited about that. And then knowing that they get their own locker and they're going to be changing out for PE, and so that causes a little bit of anxiety for some students, but I thought overwhelmingly students were pretty excited about that. And then I also talked to the students about some of the opportunities that they have right after lunchtime. So we have different things happening throughout the week. On Mondays and Fridays, right after lunch, they go to their 5th period class, but before 5th period officially begins, they have about a 25-minute read period where they just get to silent read. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have a flex period. So again, it's right after lunch. They report to their 5th period class, and for about 35 minutes, they have flex time. And the flex is flexible with how they use it. It's not free time. I made sure they understood it's not free time to do whatever they want, but the flex time will allow them to get a head start on their homework. It allows them to travel to another teacher that they may need extra help. Maybe a student is struggling with their essay and they visit their English teacher to get extra help on the essay. Maybe they missed a quiz in science because they were at a dentist appointment, so they can travel to their science teacher to make up that quiz. If they're working on a group project, maybe they meet up in the library to work on the project. So again, it's flexible as long as it's being used towards school items. And then on Wednesdays, they get out early, so we don't have anything right after lunch. They just go straight into 5th period.
All right, so I will be talking about the different student support that will be available at Hopkins. We briefly talked about WEB, where everyone belongs. In addition to the initial date when the 8th grade student leaders are planning different fun activities for our incoming 6th and 7th graders, throughout the year, they also have a lot of different lunchtime activities where the student leaders continue to connect with the new students. This is a great way, again, to build that cross-grade level support and for the students to get to know more people beyond just their own grade level. We have our library that's open before school at 7:30 and also opens after school until 3:30 on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. On Wednesdays, it's open an hour after school until 2:30. So students have each day, they have an hour after school to use the library for additional reading that they would like to do, or to study in small groups, or to do independent work if they would like to. The library has Chromebooks that students can access as well. We have a wellness center that we're very happy to share that we opened up this school year. It is open during lunchtime every day, and it's also used sometimes by our wellness, our counselors and our youth and family and youth services from Fremont. We have a therapist that comes twice a week. She uses that for any small group interactions and activities too that takes place during flex periods sometimes. And of course, we have our counselors who are there to provide support, individual check-ins, small group check-in interactions, and small group support. For example, this year they're running a socialization group for students who are maybe feeling more shy or just needing more strategies on interaction with other peers. So depending on what the counselors are seeing that students are needing more of, they're providing small group interventions for our students. And in terms of activities, we have a lot of different choices and a lot of different ways for students to get involved. We have clubs that are based on students' interest. Right now, we have speech and debate, we have chess, we have a Muslim Student Association, we have our Gender Alliance Club. So different clubs that students can even start if they're seeing some that they have an interest, but currently we don't have a club supporting it. We always encourage our students to simply, they just check in with the counselor, let the counselor know this is what they're interested in, and the counselors will help them find a teacher or a faculty, staff advisor who can be there to advise and supervise their club meetings, usually during lunchtime. We have our socials that happen 3 times a year. And the socials usually are we have a theme. We just had a socials where the students had the different
Let's glow. It was
let's glow.
glow
Yes,
theme.
the glowing theme. The students had different glow sticks that they were having fun with, and we provide music, photo booth. Our parents provide pizzas for the students and drinks as well. And we have games, as you can see in the picture, where the students are enjoying both. They can bring board games too, because we know that our students enjoy different things. So there's just different activities during the social hours where the students can have fun with their friends and also have fun with people maybe that they haven't met before. We have our performances, we have our orchestra band program, and we also have a drama program. They put together performances that all the students can come and watch. We have our leadership program where the students put together Friday fun days on each every last Friday of the month. And they have music. Our students sometimes are dancing in the courtyard together during those times. Sometimes they are singing karaoke. So
Karaoke.
yeah, so they have different events and for the students to enjoy. And of course, we have athletics programs in the middle school level. We will continue to have volleyball and basketball and boys and girls for each sport. And we have 2 teams per sport. So there's always an A team, which is for more skilled players, and the B team, which is for more of the beginning players. And students from 6th all the way to 8th grade can try out to join the teams. And it's 1 sport per at a time. So we'll start with our boys volleyball in the fall, no, girls volleyball in the fall, and then moving into boys basketball around November. And then December is the girls basketball. And then now moving into March, April, we're about to start our boys volleyball season. And because we have our Spanish and Mandarin immersion programs, we are very fortunate that we have all of you parents, and we have our student leaders that can continue to help us with these cultural celebrations. This year we had a Dia de los Muertos celebration where the students And the parent volunteers, they put together different learning stations for the whole school to enjoy, as you can see this in these pictures, that are all of our Hopkins community really embrace the celebration of culture. So these were really, really successful events. Like I said earlier, our Mandarin Immersion program, the student leaders as well as the family volunteers help us to put together the Lunar New Year celebrations. And we're looking forward to continuing and possibly adding more celebrations too, because we have so many different cultures across Hopkins that we're happy to appreciate and celebrate. Right, so just a reminder, make sure that you are on the lookout for information regarding our Maze Day and web. Again, that will be coming your way in the beginning of August. And we also want to make sure that you know and you're welcome and invited to come to our Hopkins Expo. That will be Wednesday, April 19th. This is an exposition of learning. So if you come to Hopkins that day from 6:30 to 8, you'll be able to see from different departments, the different student work and presentations. We are going to have food trucks there as well. It's going to be a fun event, so feel free to come and check us out, and you'll be able to walk around and see some classrooms and see our multi-purpose building where most of the expo will take place in. All right, before we get into Q&A, I just want to also point out that at the end of this presentation, which we'll share the link in chat again, is a video that we hope you take a moment to watch with your students. This is a video that was created by our own Hopkins film class. The film students put this together under the guidance of the film teacher, Mr. Pareg. You'll see here just how much fun and how much joy that our students have talking about the different parts of Hopkins. So we hope that you take a moment to take a look. And this is a great way to just see how the different parts of Hopkins play out. All right, so let's see. I don't see any questions right now in Q&A. I think we've mostly answer a lot of these. I do want to take a moment because I think this applies to everyone, just to let everyone know that free lunch will still be available next year. And sometimes parents worry about the lunch line. We have the structure set up to move students pretty smoothly so that right now, even with 2 grade levels, the students move in and out within 10 minutes that everyone got their lunch. And then next year with the 3 grade levels, we'll have 2 serving locations open up for all the students so that it should not be a problem for the students to get their food pretty quickly and be able to enjoy lunch.
Yeah, and sorry, I'm typing in answer as I talk here. Because we're gaining about 450 more students next year, I can't emphasize enough how much we would love to have more parent volunteers, not only for the AM and PM traffic, but also at lunchtime, because we have to expand and we're going to need more eyes to help. So please, 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 if you are interested, don't hesitate to reach out. We would love to have you. It's asking if 6th graders can take band. So they will not be allowed to take band during the school day, but there will still be band after school. So they can sign up for the after school program.
There's a question about after school program on campus. So there's through the music boosters, they were going to be providing the band class after school. We also started partnership with the San Jose Art Museum this year that they were providing some after school workshops, art workshops that they sent an art educator to be at Hopkins and providing the art workshops. And this is something that we sponsor, so it's at no cost for our students and families. And we are planning to continue this partnership because the workshops were really popular with our students. And it's a great way for them to just have an outlet and have a way to express themselves creatively too.
And then another program we have this year after school is it's been on Wednesdays. It's math help, a math intervention class for students who are struggling. And we've been talking about possibly doing an English one for next year. But to be determined, it's based on student needs.
Breakfast is served every day from 7:15. And the Mandarin and the Spanish and Mandarin immersion students are not necessarily going to be in the same math and science classes. They're going to be mixed in with the other sixth graders.
There's a question about, is there a saxophone class available? Saxophone would be part of band, so there's going to be after school band. I will put into the chat the name of our music director, Mr. Sarton, if you want to reach out. I don't know if they have their schedule yet. I know they're probably working on it. But yes, saxophone would be part of the band class. So I'm typing in the chat now his email. You're welcome. Is there any academic enrichment program after school? So Ms. Quay was talking about the art program. We don't have anything specifically for like math. Well, that's not true. There's been Science Bowl this year. Yes, we did have Science Bowl, and actually we took first and second place. And our first place will be going to DC. So there has been, and then math counts.
Speech and debate.
Yeah, and so there has been. So it varies year to year. You know, it always requires an advisor. Sometimes we have an advisor and sometimes we don't. So it just depends on if we have the advisor or not. But we've had several things this year.
I can answer this one out loud. Somebody asked if the immersion students would have 5 different teachers if they have 0 period. That would be true because they would have that additional class. So most 6th grade students will have 4 teachers, but if you take an additional class, you would have an additional teacher. So yes, 5 teachers for immersion students who did opt into the 0 period.
And then there's a question about a parent wanting to attend PFA meetings now. Is the PFA meetings for current parents, or are incoming parents allowed to attend the PFA meetings, Ms. Quay?
I don't see a problem with it. I'm going to put into an answer our PFA president, Ms. Pritika Gupta's email. So please email her so that she can send you the Zoom information and the dates to join. Oh, Mrs. Moore, did you do that already?
I did not.
Oh,
No.
okay, because I see the question disappearing, but I'll put our slides in the chat again. Her email is in our slideshow, so you can reach out to her directly.
There's a question about how many total 6th grade classes. I don't know the math on that. That's not, so I'm not sure. I don't know how many. I know each 6th grader will have at least 6 classes. Some of our 6th graders who are immersion students will have 7. We're going to have about 450 students. So I don't know what that math equates to. If my child has an IEP and they're in Mandarin immersion, will 0 period be required for 7th and 8th grade as well? Thank you for asking. Yes, that as long as your child is requiring that core support class, they would need to have the 0 period in order to be able to have both the IEP services as well as the immersion program. So it would be 0 period for all 3 years. Is this someone's asking about a math helper on Wednesday? I'm not sure if you're asking about volunteering. We actually don't need volunteers for the Wednesday after school help. We have staff that is already doing it. We have a a teacher and paraeducator. If I misunderstood your question, though, please let me know.
If the question is about how to sign up your students for the math intervention on Wednesdays, we always encourage parents to reach out to counselors as your first connection, because they are able to direct you into the different programs that we have available. So reaching out to the sixth grade counselor next year if you're needing math help, and they can help guide you in terms of what's available and when it's starting.
We do have English learner support. We have EL classes, and we have some electives. We have ELD Connections and ELD 3D, as well as the 3 different levels of EL for the, instead of English, there would be in either EL 1, 2, or 3. I think because I'm less familiar with the 6th grade program, I might let Ms. Perez or Ms. Rocha maybe answer this better, since I'm still learning with the 6th grade program.
About the back-to-back, whether the classes are back-to-back. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
No, the about the EL learner one.
The ELD.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the level of the student. So every year, students who are multi-language learners take a test called LPAC, which is the English Language Proficiency Test. And based on where they score, for lack of a better word, on that test, it determines what level of English learner they are. And so if they are what we call a level 1 student, where they require more assistance, one of the classes that they may have, as we'll call it their elective, is something called ELD Connections. If they are, let's say, a level 3, which is somebody who's more advanced in English, one of the classes might be something called English 3D. So it really depends on the level of need the student has. And so the class is geared towards whether they're a novice English speaker or maybe a little bit more advanced, where they just need some additional support. Ms. Rocha, if you want, or Dr. Rocha, if you want to chime in if I forgot anything.
Yeah, so I can speak in regards to 6th grade. So if a student is a novice English speaker, meaning they're a newcomer, have very little English, they would be not in the core classes, they will be in those ELD classes. And that will be geared towards to help them accelerate their language in English, the language acquisition. That would be the same case for someone who is at a level 2, who is still building upon that. But any student who is at a level 3 or 4 that needs minimal support, they will be in the core classes. So they will not be in those ELD classes. So again, to Mrs. Perez's point, it really depends on what each child needs. It's not a one size fits all approach.
Thank you. Are there any other questions that we can help with? We've got a few more minutes.
So no one's asked this, but I'm going to throw it out there because of I know it got asked a lot yet at a different meeting. So you don't need to raise your hand, but how many of you are actually worried about your child attending middle school from an elementary? And so I want to give you a little bit of reassurance. I've been a middle school assistant principal with 6th graders on campus for the past 3 years. And I know you might be a little nervous and anxious, but I will tell you a couple of things. First, they are going to be 6th graders, whether they're at elementary school or middle school. They will still have 6th grade teachers who are still the kind, caring, compassionate people you see at the elementary schools right now. They just transitioned to middle school, and they still keep all their warm fuzziness that they had with them at elementary school. And really having 6th graders on campus with 8th graders has not proven to be a concern at my site. And again, I'm at Horner. And in fact, the 8th graders pretty much ignore the 6th graders and kind of leave them alone to do their own thing. So if any of you are a little anxious about this, please rest assured 6th graders fit right in on a middle school campus.
Thank you.
Someone was asking about zero period, if they opt out of zero period. Each year is a new year for course selection. If you opt out of zero period for the 6th grade year, you still have the option to choose to have zero period 7th grade or not. Same thing with 8th grade too. Every year is a different selection.
Are there online books available to reduce backpack load for kids? As a matter of fact, there are. So the backpacks are thankfully becoming lighter. There still are some books that are required. Many teachers have class sets so that the students don't have to carry their books back and forth. And like the science curriculum, a lot of the history curriculum, it's online now, which is nice. And I know in elementary school, the rolling backpacks are a big no-no, but at Hopkins, we do allow the rolling backpacks, but we just ask students to be careful. They like to run, and we don't want them to run because when they're running, then other kids trip. And we have had some injuries because of kids tripping over the rolling backpacks.
We also encourage families to continue to work with the students on organization. We notice that sometimes their backpacks are heavy because they're unnecessarily carrying a lot of things that they might not really need to keep in their backpack. So I think it's always a good skill to keep practicing with our kids is, let's organize our binders. Do we need to keep the paper that teachers gave out last semester when it's a different class now to help them understand how to lighten the load as well?
And they will receive a locker, not outside. They won't have an outside locker, but they will have a locker in the locker room for PE where they can store their PE clothes, bring them in on Monday, store them for the week, and then take them home on Friday to wash. So they'll have that small storage space, so they're not having to lug their PE equipment around or uniform. PE clothes will be available during Maze Day, and then after school begins as well. And then for people who don't want to buy the school uniform, the PE teachers will go over what the other options are if you want to provide your own clothing.
We had some very good thinking time, that's for sure. Good strategy. And if I just may take a moment, first of all, I would like to say thank you to our interpreters for their service. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Parents, again, if you have any concerns at all, please feel free to reach, not only the school administration, but as you know, we have district support as well. I can tell you as a former middle school principal for a number of years as well, one of the messages I always reach out to parents is that students are very resilient and they'll thrive and do well. My biggest recommendation to parents, number one, is to stay involved. So please make sure you look at that information for the Parent Faculty Association. It is very helpful when you have questions and things like that, that you can reach out to others and learn, obviously, from their experiences as well. To students, my recommendations always has been that when they are new to a new setting or a new campus, to always look out and find that trusted adult on campus that can be their advocate. So if they have questions, comments, concerns, there's always someone available for them. If it's a teacher, that's great. It can be their counselor, it can be a secretary in the office, it can be someone from the cafeteria, a custodian, it doesn't really matter. Every single adult on campus is there for our students. So make sure that they reach out and have that opportunity. And it really goes a long way to just guide them in the right direction. And once again, thank you for your time. It's just been very informational and did a great job. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jimenez. And again, we want to encourage families to take a look at the video that our students have produced to get a better sense at what Hopkins looks like and what our students are like. And we're really excited to be welcoming you to campus and of course your students very soon. If you're able to join us at our Hopkins Expo on April 19th, we look forward to welcoming you and sharing some bites together. We'll have food trucks, we'll have music. Our student performers are going to be out there performing music as well, and you'll be able to see the different departments and student work. And
If I can say one thing about
please.
the yellow forms and the proof of residency, we did make an error on that form where we told you it was due on Friday, March 17th. And we did that forgetting that there is no school for the students on Friday. So feel free to turn them in tomorrow, or if you need to, discuss a little bit more with your family, it won't matter if you wait until Monday. So you can either turn them in tomorrow to your student's 5th grade teacher or wait till Monday to turn them in. And then your school, whether it be Lila Bringhurst or Blake Howell, they'll forward those forms to us with your proof of residency.
I also want to thank Dr. Rocha, Dr. Jimenez for joining us, and of course, Claudia, Susan, thank you both so much. It's not easy to be interpreting simultaneously when a lot of information is being thrown out. So thank you all so much for joining us tonight. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to answer anything that you think of after tonight. And again, we're really excited to be welcoming you and your students to Hopkins, again, Hopkins Middle School very soon. All right, 7:30 right now. Have a great night. We'll see you soon. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.